Money is something that you absolutely in life should prioritize, especially living in the West. At the end of the day, if you don't have money, no one really gives a shit what you have to say. It's been an interesting week. There's been a lot going on, a lot of changes in the environment and the circumstances in life. And I guess I'll try to give advice on the things that will necessarily come up in your life due to you trying to be a useful member of society. Most of the time, when I think about what I do on the daily, responsibility comes first. And my responsibilities range from guiding people regularly, daily, but also literally just showing up and doing the work as a skilled laborer in the field of dentistry. So what that means is that when I wake up, though I wake up essentially for myself, most of the time I am thinking about what it means to be a we leader. A we leader, my friends, is someone that almost every single thing that that person does reflects on how they are thinking about the whole. And most of the time, when I am thinking about we leadership, I need to understand what my limitations are. And the limitations can be anywhere from going to sleep at the right time, obviously personal obligations, but also really what my belief of myself is, who I am as a human being, and whether or not that is being bolstered by my actions. So bolstering basically means, am I giving myself enough data to say, hey, Turab, you are actually doing the thing. So we leadership comes after me leadership. This light's all messed up. Me leadership is the things that I'm talking about. Me leadership is, listen, I'm gonna adjust this camera a little. Me leadership is saying, I have a tremendous amount of shit that I want to get done in my life. And what that means is that I need to have a certain amount of consistent discipline every single day. My advice for those that are trying to build the me leadership thing is set one thing and try to get it done 6 out of 7 days of the week. It's really hard to do when we don't take it seriously, but that could be working out, that could be reading a book, that could be trying not to get into bad habits whatsoever, right? Spending the time in the evening to actually build ourselves. These days, I would say I work basically from like 7:30 to like 8 p.m. So I'm working like 13-hour days consistently. And that more or less also includes Saturdays. You would think to yourself, I assume, why in the world would someone work that much? Don't you work to live? And though my mentality in the past was I work to live, I've realized now that my work is satisfying enough for me to live to work. Meaning I help enough people over the course of a day and over the course of the hours that are spent outside of the day, outside of the workday, that regardless of what my personal aspirations are or what my personal desires are over the course of the day, those things, the responsibilities need to be taken care of first. How does one get to a point in life where that is a reality? Well, you got to think about life in the sense of like, what is the most important resource for you to have what you want? And what I want in life is some sort of power, some sort of say over how I spend my time, some sort of say over perhaps advice, valuable advice to people that work alongside me, with me, that advice actually has weight through things that I've accomplished. And what that means to me most of the time is that 90% of what I do, no one's ever going to see. 90% of what I do is going to be spent doing things that no one really values, besides perhaps high-achieving people or people that make a lot of money in general. And the reason that I wanted to talk about money and the advice that I want to give to you guys is try to make a lot of money in your life. It will buy you the ability to make decisions. And a lot of people don't see it like that. A lot of people are like, oh, if I go after money, I'm going to be an evil person. If I go after money, I'm going to, forget my friends and family. If I go after money, I'm going to end up doing a job that I don't really like. And I think it's all kind of bullshit. I think it really comes down to not growing up and taking responsibility for the fact that, dude, like if you can't show up every single day and do something that's not always satisfying, you're never going to be able to build anything. Let alone if you can't build anything, you're not going to make more money. If you don't make more money, you're not going to have choices. Like the vast majority of the people that I work with or I work for or I work alongside or that work underneath me, they're struggling with money because of a lack of responsibility. Because they are not spending all of the time that they possibly can building the me leadership, going and looking at audiobooks, reading podcasts, getting advice from people that they want to be like, seeking mentors. So important. Money is not evil, guys. Like, money is something that you absolutely in life should prioritize, especially living in the West. At the end of the day, if you don't have money, no one really gives a shit what you have to say. And when I say no one, my definition of average has risen to a point where the vast majority of people are basically no one. In the sense that I don't take advice from them, in the sense that I don't necessarily value the things that they're doing all the time, in the sense that I don't go out of my way to try to entertain them and spend my time on them. Because the vast majority of people are not really all that motivated enough to get their discipline in shape, to get their me leadership in shape, to move into the we leadership role where the vast majority of their time is spent on thinking about how their actions impact a lot of other people. That'd be my advice. Get money focused. And if you're looking for resources on money, you can check out my stuff that I talk about money. But you can also go and check out Grant Cardone. You can go and check out Cody Sanchez. You can go and check out Alex Hormozy. Who else? I mean, you can probably find a bunch of people on Instagram and TikTok in general that will convince you that getting money in life is good. What I've realized most of the time is that when I'm bored, I make bad decisions. When I'm bored, I hurt myself. And I think it's, I wanna project and say that that's a human condition. I don't think as humans we really want to be bored. I think we want to have a sense of accomplishment, a sense of movement in our life. And getting that raw data, that number in your bank account or that you're making daily or monthly or yearly, that's one of the only things that's going to predict whether or not you're staying busy enough to not be bored. Now, I have some luxuries in my life, right? I don't have a relationship that I'm geared towards, like a significant other that, consistently demands my attention. I don't have children. I don't have a W-2 job where I'm an employee, right? I'm a business owner. I have a lot of the things that I want in life already, meaning I have the supplies to paint, I have the supplies to create music, I have the network to engage with thoughtful people when I want, if I want. And a lot of that has come from me literally spending day in and day out, 13 hours a day, building that life based on the pursuit of money, based on the pursuit of actually having more of that resource in my pocket. I want to change the world. So I always give advice based on hopefully leaders that want to change the world. That's what this channel's for. Other advice I would give is try your hardest to be really kind to people. Not nice to people, but to be kind to people. And this works in really any echelon in life because kindness is not saying the things that people want to hear. Kindness is saying the things that people need to hear from your perspective. Kindness is saying that this conversation will be difficult right now, right here, but in the long run, it's really going to solve a lot of problems for me and that other person that I'm trying to communicate with. Kindness is thinking about a birthday. Kindness is thinking about organizing an event. Kindness is something that is contagious and something that we can build into our systems that necessarily increases the efficiency of the system because it increases trust. The line that I always remember is Progress moves at the speed of trust. Trust is gained over time. The kindness that we have in life should be put into all aspects of life. The way that we are kind at work should be the same way that we are kind at home. And the reason is because we don't want to diverge ourselves from who we are as a person. We want to be as aligned as possible because life gets hard and there's a lot of chaos in it. If we don't have that sense of this is my core values and this is the way that I want to execute wherever I am, it's going to be really hard to figure out whether or not our environment is controlling us or whether or not we are actually in control of our own lives. And I believe anyone that's still watching this video is really just looking for control over their own life, because me leadership goes before we leadership. Something, by the way, I stole directly from Cardone Ventures. The other piece of advice, the last piece of advice that I'll give is, dude, if you're in school right now or if you're out of school and you're not studying something, you're really limiting the amount of money that you're going to make. And it means constantly trying to sharpen your axe. Sharpen your axe. The metaphor is quite simple. There's two lumberjacks. And I say this enough so maybe you guys have seen it. There's two lumberjacks. And one of them cuts wood all day, every day, and creates a certain amount of wood. The other one cuts wood all day, every day, except 1 hour, and creates more wood. The lumberjack that works all day asks the other one, why the hell is it that I work more than you and I still make less wood? The other one says, because for that hour I'm sharpening my axe. Guys, reading books, having mentors, having masterminds, having podcasts, audiobooks, having anything in your life that you are constantly using to learn and build yourself as a human being is going to put you light years ahead of the vast majority of people. And unfortunately, it's probably going to come with an increased definition of average. An increased definition of average necessarily means that to some degree, you're going to be judging other people. Or to some degree, the vast majority of people are not even going to be on your radar because they don't have that level of execution. Now, it's a lonelier place, but it's a more meaningful place because the people that are going to that place are way more intentional about their life. And intentionality necessarily breeds more kindness. Intentionality necessarily gets more money. Intentionality necessarily makes us believe that we have control over our lives. The vast majority of people are not going to be intentional basically for their entire lives. And if you question this, if you challenge this, I would love to have your comments down below. But I'm telling you, there is going to be, and there already is, a subset of humanity that will not ever be intentional and a subset of humanity that is always going to be intentional. And that's going to diverge the path. And that's the conversation of, hey, are these policies affecting everyone? Are these policies, I'm talking about government, by the way, are these policies actually logical? That's the conversation of, what did that shitty person do that day versus what does it mean to be a shitty person? So the concept of talking shit about someone versus talking about an idea, right? People that are intentional will talk more about ideas. My advice to you is try to become more intentional in life. It really does help. Actualize your potential catalyst. This world needs you. And if you need me in any capacity, hit me up in the comments below or DM me. I'm curious, is there anything that I can provide some insight on? Let me know. Take care.